Hi, today we will look into the structure of your urinary bladder and their functions. Okay, so this is the urinary bladder, and the layer in between the two layer is called transitional epithelium. Okay, transitional epithelium, also known as urothelium. This is called compound epithelium. Okay, so this will be the lining of urinary bladder and ureters. Okay, so the lining of urinary bladder and ureters are nothing but transitional epithelium, also known as urothelium. This is called compound epithelium. Okay, so this will be your ureter, right? Will be having a pair of ureters. Okay, pair of ureters. And on the top of your urinary bladder, you will be having one receptor. Okay, that receptor is called stretch receptor. Stretch receptor, which will give signal to your CNS. When it will give signal to your CNS? When the bladder is almost full. So what is the maximum capacity of your bladder? Your maximum capacity of the bladder will be 800 ml. Okay, from 600 ml to 700 ml, you will feel the urge to pass the urine. But you have the maximum capacity of the urinary bladder is 800 ml. When you reach the maximum capacity 800 ml, this stretch receptor will give signal to your CNS. Okay, and now you will be having a layer. You will be having a muscle called detrusor muscle on the urinary bladder. The function of this detrusor muscle is to contract the urinary bladder when it is needed. Okay, so now when you have to pass the urine, these stretch receptor will give signal to CNS. These CNS will give signal to detrusor muscle. These detrusor muscle do a contraction of this urinary bladder. Okay, and you'll be having two sphincters on the urethra. One will be the internal sphincter and the another one is external sphincter. These external sphincter is voluntary, meaning you can control the sphincter, but this internal sphincter is involuntary, meaning we cannot control this internal sphincter. We can only control this external sphincter. Okay, both of them are called urethral sphincter. Okay, so because of this external sphincter, you are holding your urine. Even though your urinary bladder reaches its maximum capacity, you have to hold it until you find the toilet, right? So for that, this external sphincter is helping us to hold the urine until we find out the toilet. Okay, so now when you reach this maximum capacity, the stretch receptor gives signal to the CNS, and this CNS gives signal to the detrusor muscle, and this detrusor muscle contract the urinary bladder. The urine will come down. Now the sphincters, both internal and external sphincters, will get open and all the urine will expel out. Okay, this is what happening in your body. Okay, now there is one more structure in your urinary bladder. So this is your ureters, right? You have ureters opening, one ureter opening and another ureter opening, and there is another opening is called urethral opening. So when you look into it, it will look like a trigon. Okay, triangle, nothing but a triangle. This is called trigone of bladder. Okay, so I'll write it here because I don't have a space there. So this trigone of bladder have two ureter opening and one urethral opening. Together they forming a trigone. They are forming a trigone of bladder. Okay, so that's it. Then you will be having in some patients like urinary elderly patients, usually they don't have these external sphincters in their control. So what happen if your external sphincters is not in your control? The urine will store here, right? This urine will automatically come out because this external sphincter are not in your control. So this is what is happening in the elderly patients. In elderly patients, they don't have their control in the external sphincter, so automatically urine leakage will happen in the elderly patients. That is called, the leakage of urine is called urinary incontinence. Okay, urinary incontinence means urine leakage usually happening in the elderly patients. Continence means ability to control the urine and feces. That is the continence. Thank you.